Now I would like to invite Mr. Prasad Chaphekar, who is Deputy Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, to talk about focus on the National Green Hydrogen Mission. Mr. Prasad has a few remarks that he'd like to give. Would you like to make them standing or sitting? All right, so I'll take just 1 minute to introduce you. Like I said, he's Deputy Secretary at the MNRE. He's an IRS officer. He's worked for 7 years in the field in Mumbai in various charges like assessment, investigation, being at headquarters. He's currently involved in the Green Hydrogen Mission at the Ministry. He's an electrical and telecom engineer from IIT Pune and has a master's in laser technology from IIT Kanpur. He also has a PhD in electrical engineering from IIT Bombay.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here. Always glad to interact with the industry and others. I'll just give a quick recap and I'll throw it open for Q&A because I would like to answer your questions more than go on about our schemes. The first and the biggest scheme, obviously, is the Green Hydrogen Mission. The targets are already known. The budget is already known to you. It's around 20,000 crores, just south of that. The two biggest components in the mission are the incentives for producing electrolyzers and for green hydrogen. The scheme documents will be out shortly. Our target is to invite the first bids for both schemes by June. So in a couple of months, most things will be clear. Right now, we are working on many of those scheme documents. The definition of green hydrogen, all that is in the works as of now. We have taken many incentives, apart from the mission. So the Ministry of Power has already notified the green open access rules, which we hope all states to abide by shortly, which would make RE access much easier for the industry. We also have a green energy corridor, which has been done by the ministry itself to transport RE from RE-rich zones to whichever part of the country it is required. I would request all players who are setting up big RE plants, especially for green hydrogen, to also intimate the Ministry of Power regarding your requirements on an early basis so that they can also plan their infrastructure in a much better manner. We have also proposed that the ISTS waiver, there was a demand from the industry that ISTS waiver specifically for green hydrogen projects should be waived off. We have released an OM wherein we have proposed that. Ultimately, the Ministry of Power is the authority for actually giving the rules in that regard. But the notification was issued with the approval of the minister. It's the same minister for both ministries. So it's just a matter of time before I guess the Minister of Power will announce. A specific question was, what are the incentives for demand? The supply incentives are clear in the mission; they are there, and we'll get the details very shortly in a couple of weeks or maybe few weeks. The demand side is a constant demand by the industry that we should impose some kind of obligations. So to that, the answer is that the power to do that rests with the empowered group, which is the group in charge of the mission overall. It is chaired by the cabinet secretary, and there are many other ministries who are also part of the group. So that group has been given the power to impose such obligations. It was not thought probably prudent to impose obligations directly in the mission itself. But the option is always there when the supply catches up and there is sufficient assurance of supply. The EG can take up the issue of obligations. Also, the oil marketing companies have announced their own targets for becoming net zero, which involve a lot of use of green hydrogen because they use it in their refineries on a very substantial amount. The mission also has support for 2 hydrogen hubs initially. The hubs will include mostly the storage part, bunkering if required, the refueling facilities. So maybe also generation if that is thought to be prudent. So these hubs are likely to come up near ports which ports, again, the industry will probably know more than us, because with the port, these hubs will come up near places where there are concrete plans of hydrogen being manufactured, especially for export purposes. As you have also seen, the states have also given their various policies for their support to green hydrogen in addition to our mission. So I would take a pause as of now and take if there's any questions from the industry or anybody else. I will answer to the best of my ability and what is clear at this point of time. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chaphekar, for those initial remarks and for giving us a lot of time for questions and answers. I do have a couple of questions of my own. The first one is that what is being done in regards to standards for safety, for storage, all of those things?
So we had four sort of like working groups to identify the gaps on standards. So their reports have been submitted to us. I think we also had a meeting with BIS and PESO and others in the month of March. We'll be shortly forwarding them all the standards. In any case, the mission document says that most notifications which are very essential will be notified within one year of the mission being announced. So there is already a timeline set for announcing the standards. And if you have somebody from BIS, I guess, so they are in a better position to tell what level they are. From our end, we'll be giving them the report very shortly, which has all the gaps which we identified.
And there was a lot of discussion yesterday about, the huge volumes of water that is required for green hydrogen projects. So is there a provision for ensuring that water requirement is being met, especially in areas, in the hinterlands where refineries are mostly located?
So water in this respect, water, land are mostly in the purview of the states. So it is for the states to develop the individual policy as to what water should be allowed and should not be allowed. The Ministry of NRI cannot really tell the states as to what sources of water they should probably take. It's not our mandate also and not fair also. Each state has its own different requirements, different geography and different availability.
All right.
So that is for each state to decide on its own.
Okay. Fair enough. And there was a panel discussion yesterday with oil and gas players where we had IOCL, ONGC, and Reliance. And the consensus was that if ever these, hydrogen demand obligations come up, then they should be somewhere around 5 to 6% rather than the 10% that was decided. So this is just a thought for you to go back with.
Yeah. So
Not a question actually.
As I said, I mean, obviously any targets which we impose, it's not done by a stroke of a pen. We talk to the industry multiple times, not just once. So it will obviously be done by the industry feels it's feasible and there is enough supply to actually meet the obligations. Otherwise, there's no point in having obligations and not be able to meet it. That makes no sense. So obviously, we'll take into consideration what plants are already in plan, what is the capacity of those plants,
Right.
and where are the locations of those plants,
Right.
and how can we transport hydrogen to where from that plant to wherever it is required for the to meet the obligations.
Right.
So all that will be taken into account before we give out with any obligations. I mean, we means the EG.
Right.
EG has the right to do that.
And before I move to the audience, the final question from my end will be that there's a huge emphasis on R&D in the National Hydrogen Mission document also.
Yes.
So is there some sort of a research hub or a research department or something like that which is being set up specifically for green hydrogen where scientists or even research agencies can come up and put up their pilot projects or something of that sort is being planned?
We also had subgroups on R&D to what areas should we target more. Those reports are there, and we're in the process of finalizing it. We will be unveiling the R&D roadmap. We means in this case the PSA.
Right.
That he's the responsible. He's the chair of the advisory group, which has the mandate of laying out the R&D roadmap. So that document of the R&D roadmap will be laid down by the PSA in an appropriate venue. Okay. Shortly, of course.
So is this empowered group that we're talking about, has that
EG
been formed?
EG is the final authority. AG is the authority which gives technical advice to the EG.
All right.
That AG is headed by the PSA.
Okay.
And it is the AG's mandate to lay down the R&D roadmap.
All right.
So that will also be done in a few months, maybe
Great.
shortly.
Um,